So hi everyone, I wanted to welcome you today. I'm super excited to interview Cassie and Vernice. They're from Health Coach and they have produced an amazing book called Meet the Macros. I have used this book personally for myself, my whole family. So welcome girls. Thank you so much to Cassie and Vernice for joining me today.
Hey Amelia, thanks for having us.
And I just wanted to briefly start by saying the book is amazing. Even my nonna actually cooks from your book.
Oh, amazing.
So it is completely ageless. She's Italian and has all of her favourite recipes, and she has a husband who has diabetes. So she has started using every single one of your recipes and absolutely loves it. So yeah, well done. Can you tell me, Cassie, how did you come to create this amazing book?
So I guess I wanted to start with my passion for nutrition and dietetics, which started quite earlier on. I was really interested in nutrition, and I actually suffered from disordered eating when I was younger. So initially, I probably had an interest in nutrition for the wrong types of reasons, and I would sort of restrict my intake quite heavily and exercise quite a lot just to sort of be thin. But then when I started going to uni and studying nutrition and dietetics, I sort of realised, like, hang on, what I'm doing isn't healthy. And then I started to obviously learn more about nutrition during my uni lectures, eat more in a wholesome way and eat more of the right types of foods. And I started to feel a lot better, like my skin was better, I had heaps more energy. And I started training at the gym where Vernice introduced me to weight training at that point. And I was just feeling so amazing. And so I really just wanted to share that with other people in terms of show other females that, you don't have to starve yourself, that you can eat in a healthy way, and just how food can really help nourish your body and help you help you with your confidence, your energy, and just your day-to-day life. And Vernice was sort of going through her own thing at the same time, and then it's funny how we meet up. So Vernice, did you want to explain your story and then how we came to evolve from that?
Yeah, just briefly. I mean, I met Amelia through the whole bodybuilding industry, and that's how I sort of like started my fitness. I went from like being really unhealthy and getting into weightlifting and then competitive fitness modeling and things like that. My last competition that I did in Australia, actually, Amelia, I had early onset kidney failure. And they said, stop doing this right now. Like, you were so unhealthy. I was on like a low carbohydrate diet and high protein diet for way too long. And they're like, you can't do this.
Wow.
So coupled with pneumonia and early onset kidney failure, they're like, you can't do this. So the last 3 weeks of my prep, I couldn't train because I couldn't even go to work. Like, it was so bad. And I dieted for 16 weeks. And at that point, Cassandra's like, you can't keep doing this, and you can do this in a better way. So I ended up like just competing in the show, doing what I could. And then that's when me and Cassandra got together, and all the foods that I was eating, we just made it holistic and healthy. And so I competed again while I was here in a much more healthy way. And I had a before and after photo of my competition days. And like, you know, the feeling, Amelia, where like you do it unhealthy and you like look gaunt, like your body's like, everyone's like, you look shredded, you look amazing, but your face looks really gaunt and like just tired and weird. Yeah. Whereas when I did it healthy, like I looked healthy, I looked brighter, I looked so much more amazing. And that was like the wake up call for me. Like, we need to put these recipes in a book so that people can, get healthy and shredded in a much more sustainable way. And so that's why we came up with the book.
And I love how in the book as well, you break down the protein, carbs and fat, and you've got all of the macros listed, but you've also got a handy guide to talk about what is the function of each of those. So, the ladies that are watching this, most of them have done my macro challenge, which educates us in terms of having a balance of the 3 macronutrients and understanding the energy impacts of those. But I think it's always great to have sort of new ideas, because what I feel is that we need that inspiration, those new recipes to give us variety. And we're all so busy. So I guess to throw it back to you, Vernice, what do you see? Because you do run a health and fitness business over where you are at Orlando in Florida. What do you see are the challenges for busy women in relation to their health and fitness?
Say that one more time. I've just got an unstable connection. One more question. That question one more time. I think I've got you back.
What do you see are the challenges for busy women in relation to their health and fitness?
So I run a boot camp. I have about 120, mainly females under me in my camp. And the biggest challenges are, especially around this, I don't know what it's like for you right now with this whole COVID situation, but schools are shut down here. So the parents are now having to homeschool, juggle kids, juggle families. A lot of people have lost their jobs right now. And so parents are like sole income earners at the moment. So it's kind of like they're looking for like budget-friendly recipes that their families will love, time efficient, and also like people are looking for a quick fix. And I think that's a mindset that really needs to change. And a mindset that's quite dangerous, especially with all the fad diets that promise you something in like 6 weeks, but make you like, restrict food groups and things like that. And so I think the biggest challenges are like money, time, and variety as well, so that the family can get on board, because it's really hard to do this health thing by yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Having the money and the time, in the current financial and economic situation is pretty tough. And I think, just seeing how healthy you girls look on the cover of your book, like, is an inspiration, because you can have it in your kitchen. And, you can just go, oh, okay, well, this week I'm going to use, one new recipe in addition to my standard repertoire. And I think, just build on it gradually. So I think, it's one of those things that we need to, realize that it's not a 6-week quick fix, that changing habits for your life takes a really, really long time. And that if you do go off track, you can always get back on track. There's no good or bad foods. And I've been watching quite a few podcasts lately that talk about how our stress levels really impact on our dietary choices. So it sort of leads to the next question, which I'll ask you, Cassie. As high achieving women, what do you do personally? What are some little strategies that you can share with us to balance, I guess, like a career with life, family and friends, study, all of these things that we want to achieve? Have you got any tips for like stress reduction to avoid burnout?
This is a real topic close to my heart, Amelia, because I work, I also study at university, and I've got Health Code Co. So I've got quite a bit going on. I've obviously got my husband, Zach, who I love to spend time with in my own family. So Vernice and I were talking about this a little bit before, but definitely like looking after your nutrition and your health, like eating well and exercising, is so important, because that in itself helps with your general being and your stress levels. Like, as you were mentioning, stress has a huge impact on your food choices. So I always prioritize eating healthy and getting my workout in every day, because it just really helps with my like hormone levels and clearing my head to prevent that burnout. And it's really, for me, it's like sort of a good way to like let things out and a bit of a de-stressor. But really, I guess to prevent burnout is planning, Amelia. Like, I feel like to be successful, planning is such an important part, and not just with your meals. Obviously, like, planning your meals is really important. Like, I have specific days where I do my grocery list, specific day when I shop, and a specific day when I meal prep. But just in general, having a bit of a plan as to, blocking out time for when you're going to study, blocking out time for, I'm going to take away social media and just spend time with my family and be in the moment, because those things are really important. And that's really important for our well-being and preventing burnout. Like, sometimes when you always go, you do forget to just sit back and relax and like enjoy the moment, because you're always constantly thinking about what you need to do. So personally, this has been a little bit of a struggle for me. So I just try to, just really relax and, go for a walk on the beach and just enjoy that at that present time. So I think, try to do those things, is all really important.
Yeah, I love what you're saying about the social media, sort of taking a break from it, and also the planning. And I think that, I every week sit down on a Friday and I write up my schedule for the following week, and anything that feels really stressful or like one appointment's too close to another appointment, or I feel like I'm going to have to rush or run out of time, I always then maybe reschedule one or two things from that week to the following week. And I just make that call on the Friday so that then I'm not letting anyone down. If I have to change an appointment, I'm giving them adequate notice, or, you know, if I have to rejig my schedule, I can do so, without disappointing or letting anyone down. But yeah, I think planning is definitely key. And yeah, I would say as well, yeah, that social media, having a bit of a break. Have you girls got a day of the week that you have a break from social media, or how do you manage that?
I haven't got it down to that much of a science. Honestly, Sundays, we were just saying to Cass that Sundays I hold my Sunday sacred. And I'll go on social media if, like, you know, I need to at leisure, but like I'm not going to answer like the DMs that are like piling up in there and things like that. Like I would, for me, social media is a way for me to keep up with my family. So I never be like, I want to take a break out of social media, because I go on social media to check on my nieces and nephews and do all that sort of stuff. It's a real way to communicate. But I hold Sundays as absolute sacred. Like I don't do any camps on Sundays. I will only have an hour where I will send out like a text to ramp up my campers for the next week, like get them ready. But that's about it. So it would be Sundays for me.
For me, it's Zach and I at 8:30 we'll put our phones in a different room, and it's sort of like that's it. We won't check it again. Which is quite hard, actually.
Oh, I agree. It's so hard. I actually have my phone charger in the bathroom, and I put my phone on the charger at 8:30 as well. And it's like when the phone is on the charger in the bathroom, it's not coming out again.
That's a good way of doing it.
Because yeah, otherwise it's too tempting. I think if you leave it on the couch next to you, or you have it on the kitchen bench or somewhere, you just like see a notification go off and you think, oh, I'll just quickly check that. And then before you know it, you've gone on 3 different platforms and looked at things. And I've also started doing like a real brain dump. So I have a mindset coach. Her name is Sue, and she's introduced me to self-hypnosis. And I have a self-hypnosis recording that goes for about 20 to 30 minutes that I listen to at least every second night. And what I've realized is that by consciously doing this, you could call it meditation, self-hypnosis, whatever you want to call it, it's the same principle. But there is so much clutter in my mind. It is ridiculous that quite often when I'm doing it, there'll be like literally like 10 different topics of thoughts that I'm getting out of my brain. Have you tried that?
Similar. I'm reading a book called Get Out of Your Head. It's a Christian book, but it's based on like sort of that too. And it's like how to just be still, like just being still, and like what to do with those thoughts and how to bring them back. Because someone asked the writer of the book, like, okay, when you meditate and you're not thinking of these things, how do you focus on what are you focusing on? And they're like, we're focusing on those things, but we're bringing it back to center. We're just getting sort of rid of it. We're not, so I do a sort of something like that.
Yeah, so one of the techniques that I've learned that Sue gets me to do in the self-hypnosis, and a few of the girls that are watching this also have done some work with Sue. Her business is called Middle Balance. She's actually on Instagram as well. Is she gets you to count backwards from 100. So what she does is she goes through a series of like a body scan, and you've got this relaxing music in the background, and then you start to, with your conscious mind, count backwards from 100, but instead of just going 100, 99, you say 100, deeply, deeply relaxed, 99, deeply, deeply relaxed. And she said if you lose count, you just go back to 100. But so you're doing that with your conscious mind, and then with your unconscious mind, she's talking to you about different things like, you know, creating space, relaxing, getting rid of the thoughts from the day. So that keeps me focused on being in the moment rather than thinking about, you know, what I have to plan for my children the next day at school, and what meetings I've got coming up, and what training plan I'm going to do tomorrow. And, you know, because they say that your mind is like a monkey, and unless you control it, it just gets carried away. So Yeah, it's quite interesting. Do you, Cassie, do some meditation and mindset techniques?
Personally, I don't sit down and do my meditation per se, although I have been meaning to start that practice just because I know how beneficial it can be. But I kind of, what I was saying before, like I'll go and take a long beach walk and try really hard, I guess, not to think about the things that I have planned and just focus on the present. So I guess that's kind of like mindfulness. When you know, I'm just enjoying the sunshine on my face, like just enjoying like the coffee that I'm drinking, the taste in my mouth, you know, the flowers that are, you know, by my side. Like, you know, if I had a conversation with Zach, like purely focusing on that conversation, like phone away. So I'll try to do that like at least once on the weekend. And I really find it's so beneficial. It really does just clear your mind. And it's like after that, you come in with a clean slate and you're sort of ready and you feel really recharged. So, yeah, I do agree with doing some form of mindfulness or meditation throughout the week.
And for any of the ladies that are watching, yeah, it doesn't have to be like a rigid thing. Like you said, just being in the moment and being present and noticing things. So one thing that I noticed was that if I was having a stressful week, I was with my children, but I wasn't really with them. So I'll do things like, you know, like really, really look at their eyes or really, really look at their eyelashes or smell their hair or just something like that. So like you say, be really in that moment. And because you could be sitting anywhere, really, you could go on the most fabulous holiday to a tropical island. But if you're sitting there thinking about stress and all these other things that you have to do, you can kind of like be there but not take any of it in. So yeah, I love what you're saying about that walk on the beach. I think, you know, even a walk on the beach and noticing the sun and yeah, the people that you're with, the coffee that you're drinking, I think that's a great tip and very accessible to everyone. So thanks for that. So Vernice, I would like you to tell me, what is your favourite healthy lunch or healthy main meal and dessert from the Meet the Macros book?
My favourite dessert at the moment is, tomorrow I'm going to make them, is our protein balls. Our protein balls are so good. They're very like you can stop at 3. Like it's addicting, but like it's very healthy. Like it's good amounts of protein. So that's my favorite like dessert snacky out of our book. And for a lunch, we're actually working on volume 2, and right now we have introduced like this garden salad scallop dish, and it is so good. So that's what we're eating all week this week.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And what about you, Cassie? What are your favourites?
Zach and I are really trying to have some more plant-based meals throughout the week. So I'm really loving our tofu broad bean dish from the book. So it's, yeah, like tofu in this oyster sauce with edamame or broad beans and capsicum. It's really, really easy to reheat and have like, and make multiple serves for the week ahead. In terms of the dessert, I really love our banana bread from the book. It's really easy and it's always a crowd pleaser. And Zach has it for breakfast because my husband's celiac, so I make a gluten-free version and he just has it for breakfast. It's really easy to make gluten-free as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I love those things that you can prepare in advance as well. So the protein balls are something that I put in the freezer because I just feel like it's just easier, and then well, I don't really have the trouble with my children now, but previously I would make stuff and my husband would eat the whole box before I could, you know, like you put it in a Tupperware and then you're like, where did this go? So I tend to hide them in the freezer so that they last longer. And then, yeah, I love all like the meal preps and things that you can make in advance. And specifically with the banana bread, sometimes what I do is make it and then slice it into portions and then freeze that as well. Again, so it can last maybe the whole week because obviously you're not using any preservatives in it. So, yeah, I really love that idea as well for breakfast because how convenient, you know, you can just wake up and you don't really have to do any sort of prep. It's just all ready to go.
Just chuck it in the toaster.
Yeah, oh, that sounds awesome. So just finally, I wanted to ask you both, what do you feel if someone's just finding themselves stuck, like, you know, they've got so many different resources, they feel like, you know, they're just stuck in a bit of a hole at the moment, what would be one thing that they can do for their nutrition and their mindset just to get back on track if they're finding they've been thrown a bit of a curveball with COVID, they're not really feeling very motivated? I'll ask you first, Vernice, what would you recommend?
My first thing is to like, it depends what phase someone's in. If someone's like, I've tried everything, I've like, if they're just coming out of COVID, they know they're overeating calories. They know they're, you know, the fridge has still got like food that probably shouldn't be in there, or like chips and chocolate. Like, it's all right to, if that, you know, you were in that phase, right? But getting rid of all the things that you probably should have on a more moderate basis, and adding like more vegetables in, and just doing that. If they have done that, then I would say we need to track. You need to actually, because you can't manage what you haven't measured, right? We don't know what to have in and have out. So if you have gotten rid of that and you are eating more vegetables and you're still stuck, like I don't know how you're measuring yourself, whether it's progress pictures or measurements on the scale or the way your clothes are fitting, that's when you need to track. And there's been a lot of stigma around tracking macros and calories, but it's like, there's people that do it. They know exactly what to change. They know exactly how much they're going over by. And that's when you can play around and really fit what's in your lifestyle, fit what you want to have, and be more savvy with your money macros, I guess.
That's great advice. Thank you. And what about you, Cass? What would you recommend?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Vernice. Tracking is so important. But I think especially in this climate, like, we need to sort of be a little bit easy on ourselves, and you don't have to change, you know, everything overnight. So like, if I could only say one thing, it'd just be like, make small changes that will last forever, basically. Because sometimes people think, oh, I'm going to go on this big keto diet, or I'm going to start my diet on Monday and it's going to be this amazing thing. Like, but you know, that's when people fall off the bandwagon, because they have these great big expectations and they're going to lose 5 kilos straight away. But really, like, if we want to maintain health and maintain good health for a long time, then making small changes that might not seem like much, but you know, if you're cutting out you know, the chocolate bar you have every day, if you're doing that for a long period of time, like that's a good habit. So my number one thing would be, yeah, make small changes that you can sustain long term. And you know, when you make that small change and you can keep it, like, that's great, and we should be celebrating those small wins. Like, we don't have to, you know, don't celebrate these massive things all the time. Like, we should be celebrating the small wins along the way, would be my sort of, yeah, main recommendation.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think each week with my coaching program, we look at our sleep, our water intake, yeah, whether we've adhered to our nutrition, our training, and we just like are keeping track of all of that. And then next week we'll say, okay, next week our goal is just to drink an extra litre of water per day. Or next week it is to go to bed at 10 o'clock every single day and wake up at the same time. So you're just changing one thing at a time. And yeah, I think that's so much more sustainable, because you don't want to make changes that only last a month or a week. You want to make changes that you're going to stick to forever. And yeah, I think that's super important. I think we've just lost Vernice. Hopefully she comes back. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much, you know, for your time today, and all of the advice from both of you has been incredible. Meet the Macros is such a fantastic resource. I think every person should have this book, and I'm going to put the link to your website into the notes at the bottom of this video. I'm also going to put a discount code where people can get a really good saving for the book using my code. And yeah, I would just say to people to give you a follow on Instagram, and yeah, just keep on working on those sustainable habits for life. Yeah, so I wanted to say thank you so much, Vernice, for staying up late tonight, 10:30 at night on a Friday night in the USA. And thank you so much, Cassandra. And I look forward to collaborating with both of you in future. And I really look forward to the second edition of the book as well.
Thank you so much, Emily. We've both had a blast, and yeah, thank you so much for having us. And yeah, really glad that you and your family are enjoying our book as well.
Thank you.